We talk a lot about purpose. What's your purpose? What's your why? Let me tell you, folks, we've all got one, but unless you've got tenacity, unless you can be persistent, unless you're determined, you're going to fall off the path. That pressure is going to knock you off. I promise you it will. We've got to have those things. Our guest today does. It's Janice Jokkel, next on Purpose Under Pressure. Now the heat is on. Let's get cooking. This is Purpose Under Pressure. It's a podcast about people, business folks, organizational leaders, people like you and me walking down the street. You see them every day. But what you don't know is that they're under pressure. Everybody's got their stuff. We wake up in the morning, we put our feet on the floor, we get after something on purpose, and pressures, they try to knock us down. Sometimes they succeed, not always, and that's what this show is about. How do we overcome? This is Purpose Under Pressure. If you like the show, you've seen it before, you've watched it, you've listened to it, thank you. And if I can ask a favor, if you don't mind, next time you do, would you like us? Would you follow us? Maybe give us a subscription. I like to say, tell your mom, because she'll tell somebody else. And if we can let other people know this show is happening, that's how we're going to make an impact in the business and leadership community. So thank you for doing that. Purpose Under Pressure is brought to you by my friends at Sandler by the Ruby Group, serving sales professionals nationwide from their Akron, Columbus, Ohio locations. They're also in Jacksonville, Florida. They're in Capital Region, upstate New York now. They're kind of taken over, and it's pretty cool to see. They are a sales training organization. I believe they're on purpose. I believe that they want your company to represent itself well, to generate revenue well, to do things the way it was meant to be, the way your customers expect to be treated. It's not techniques, it's not tricks. It's real sales training. It's really what it is, to help you be better. And so if you're interested, check them out online. They're at therubygroup.sandler.com. My guest today is someone I've wanted to share with you her story for a long time. I think about words like tenacity and perseverance and persistence. And I think about someone who just will not quit. And if you're a business owner and you've ever had a struggle that's wanted to say, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'll go sell hammers at Home Depot. Maybe this entrepreneurial thing isn't. I want you to meet Janice Jokkel. She is a keynote speaker and a great one, a business coach, an author. We're going to hear about that. And she's the founder of the Biz Hive. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Janice Jokkel to Purpose Under Pressure.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am so honored to be on the show this morning to share my journey because it had some rocky road, and I can't wait to share that. And if I could just drop some words of wisdom to anybody that's listening to this podcast is don't give up. Just don't give up. You just
That's
pivot.
what we're going to talk about. It's what we're going to talk about is giving up, because Janice, you've had plenty of opportunity
Oh my
to give up.
gosh.
So before we start, you and I know each other's story, and I know your story a little bit, but people don't. I want you to tell, what have you been through? Kind of capsulate that your life story in 3 minutes or less. But let people know kind of how you got to this spot, and let's talk about some of the hurdles you've overcome too.
Yeah.
In fact, before we do that, tell me a little bit about the Biz Hive.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then let's roll into the other things.
Yeah, that's part of the story. So the Biz Hive is very simply put, we support founders, business owners, entrepreneurs, startups, get started and support the people that are in it, whether it be their customers, whether it be their people, meaning their team. We are a support service system driving, problem solving organization.
Yeah, so you're helping business owners thrive. I love that. The way
our goal is we want you to thrive at the Hive.
Thrive at the Hive, and you've been through it. You've had times in your life when you have not, at least successfully thriven. Is that a word? Thriven. Let's talk about it. Tell us your story, Janice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just start from really just being tenacious because my parents owned their own business, and watching them have the peaks and valleys of being an entrepreneur themselves, and my dad being constantly innovative and a visionary and watching things start and not it fizzles out. And so I chose to walk down the corporate life at the age of 19. If anybody remembers Radio Shack, I sold TVs and cell phones, and my journey started there in sales. I've been a sales gal my whole life. I feel that is not occupation. It's a journey, and everybody should know how to do that, because if you own a business, the first thing you have to do is sell something, or you don't have a business. So my
And the
journey
last
started.
thing you have to do is
Yes.
sell something. You
Yes.
always have to sell
You're
something.
selling something always.
Yes, good.
So the bottom line is, I started my journey, my journey in my career at Romp and Stomp. I went from just a salesperson to a 19-year-old store manager, and then turning stores around. And I really feel that that really kickstarted my understanding how a corporate business was run, and managing 60-year-olds at the age of 20. And age doesn't matter. And so fast forward, left that job because retail burns you out. Left that and went into selling cell phones for straight commission and no security. I mean, I'm talking
That's tough.
selling cell phones at 35 cents a minute and bricks that you put up to your head, right? So did that, sold pagers, sold technology, ended in prior to my real entrepreneurial launch. I spent a lot of my career in a semiconductor distributor, which I contribute all of my learning from. It was probably the best learning career that I had, because I was able to deal with purchasing and engineering, and literally learning how to sit in lobbies every single Tuesday at Lincoln Electric until, they kicked us off their vendor list. And I worked my way up from the lobby security guy to the vice president of purchasing, in landing a $585 million contract, putting in a just-in-time inventory system, and really learning that industry of supply chain logistics.
From
But
the
it
ground up.
started with a relationship. And bottom line, any position you hold, it doesn't matter what position you have, 100% is relationships. I don't care what it is. And my goal was to be back on that vendor list. And so we did. And so I won it. And I had a district manager at the time that just didn't want to pay me commission on that anymore. And we parted ways, not by choice. But in the middle of that, I wanted to have an exit strategy. So I started a business called Romp and Stomp from ground zero. And my husband supported me on that. It was going to be my exit strategy. That business was an inflatable rental company where we rented inflatables out of our garage, pulled a trailer
Bouncy
with
houses and stuff like
bouncy
that, right?
houses,
So do
slides.
events and
We
birthday
partied
parties
for a
and everything.
living.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
we partied for a
nice.
living. And so I took it from just launching that little bouncer business to having a goal of opening up a children's activity center that really had a purpose. And that business lasted 15 years, and it would still be I would still be running that business today until I was told my lease wasn't going to be renewed. And that's probably the pressure, the purpose under pressure of where my Biz Hive business started, is because that business taught me that first business that I had taught me so much. It taught me how to be a leader. It taught me how to engage customers, and their tolerance of spend is not my tolerance of spend. I was hosting birthday parties for LeBron James and the cat. Like I was selling birthday parties that were $5,000 for 2 hours, and I'm like, oh my God, I would not spend that kind of money. But here's the deal: just because I won't spend it doesn't mean my clients won't spend it. And the biggest learning lesson I had early on was, I am what my customers want me to be, not what I want to be, because the business has to morph and grow and pivot as you're hearing and listening to what your clients want. And if you stay steadfast in what your business plan was, let me tell you, you'd be out of business before you started. And I'll tell you why. My business plan, when I went from renting bouncers and finally finding a building, thanks to Troy Gershbacher, and I give him a shout out every time I tell my story,
Good.
because
I love Troy.
he is the one that absolutely navigated me to the right property. not
Okay.
even knowing.
This was
And
after your lease was up? This was the first lease?
this was the lease that I took over. This was when I went from my corporate job
Yeah,
and
gotcha.
got the F word
Yeah,
and
yep.
parted ways and took my business from an inflatable rental business in launching an actual facility. That
Yeah,
was my
gotcha.
hope and dream. That was my exit strategy.
Okay.
Troy helped me find that property. And at the time it was great until I outgrew it. And then but in that moment of my business plan, that business plan had a revenue stream that I thought was a slam dunk because I did all my research, and that was having a before and after care program that would have revenue to pay during the week when parties weren't happening. And I did all my research, talked to everybody I needed to, and in the 11th hour found out that I was shut down because there was a before and after care held at every elementary school that was run by the teachers union, and they were going to lose
Oh,
revenue. And I would not have known that because my kids don't go to that district. But
yeah.
make a long story short, that $150,000 revenue stream was abruptly ended before I even opened my doors. And I had already signed a lease and build out was happening and all of that. So I had to come up with $150,000 that I had in my business plan that didn't happen. So
And
that is what really taught me to be a pivot point. Like you have got to always pivot. You don't stop your vision. You
yeah.
just have a plan B. And at that point, I didn't know what a plan B was because I didn't know I
Didn't
needed
need
a
one.
plan
You
B.
didn't need a plan B.
I
And
didn't
folks,
know I
this is
needed
why I
one.
wanted you to meet Janice, because I know a lot of you think, I wonder if I can start this. I wonder if I can do that. Janice just goes and does it. And
Yes, I do.
in this case, it cost you big. Now, you could have decided, okay, that was fun. That I tried,
Yeah.
did great, but I can't lose 150 grand again. I'm just going to go sell screws at Home Depot. And I say that because if my
Yeah.
job ever falls apart, that's what I'm going to go do. And I'm going to be really happy doing it, helping people find their way. But you didn't just go sign on with the man again. You kept building businesses. And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, people should learn from you.
Yeah.
And you've built quite a bit since then. And it hasn't always been easy. What
Yeah.
happened next?
Yeah, so I just kept the train going, right?
Yeah.
I had revenue coming in because we were renting inflatables at the time. So I still had a revenue stream coming in, but that was coming to an end because if anybody knows Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, there's things that fall from the sky called snow, and we couldn't do inflatable rentals in the snow. So I had to
True.
figure that out pretty quickly. And
Hmm.
so we fast track that business was thriving for 10 years. I'll stop during that journey in 2015 when I was burnt to the crisp, didn't want to, like, I was burnt from
Just
2008 to
working like crazy.
2015.
Yeah.
And I was working in the business, not on the business. I was the person
Yeah.
doing everything, and didn't realize how burnt out I got, that I had my beautiful 14-year-old daughter standing in my lobby on a Friday night after family fun night, and I was just shooting shrapnel out of my mouth. Customers didn't, were complaining about me. My employees were like, I don't want to work here anymore. And my daughter at the time said, Mom, you just can't be here anymore. And I'm like,
Mm.
and Matthew, my
She
son,
was
at the age of
14.
16, my daughter was 14. They
Wow,
both
that's
were
wild.
raising in the business, and they're like, we got this, Mom. I don't think you need to be here anymore. And I'm like, what? You're 14. What do you know? Went home and cried myself to sleep because I turned
Yeah.
into a horrible wife, mom that ran a business that I thought was the coolest thing to have their kids in it. And they, learned that they never wanted to own a business. So anybody out there thinking they're going to pass down a business to their kids, you're sadly mistaken. And don't
That's a
let them
tough
work for
road.
you. Go let them work for somebody else and then want to come back to the
Yeah.
business and work
Yeah.
your business. But
Yeah.
that business taught me a lot. And it taught me that kids at 16 can be leaders. You just have to give them the courage and help them build
Absolutely.
their confidence. And, I fired myself. I went to worked for a company and learned how to sales train because that was my background. I learned how to implement EOS into companies, didn't know what that was. I did a lot of really great things in the family entertainment industry. So that was my connection of getting into learning what coaching was and learning where I am today. But I firmly believe that stepping stone of going back to work for somebody allowed me to understand that sometimes in business, you have to go get a paycheck to keep your business
Yep,
going.
you sure do.
And it wasn't not necessarily the financial piece that I needed as much as my husband loved that I was getting a paycheck again. It was more that I needed to step out of my business. And Bryan, when I stepped out of my business grew by 32%.
32%. I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
This is a chance to maybe help share with us some wisdom because I did this too. I fired myself
Oh,
when
okay.
it wasn't effective in Medina when I was working with Spire and trying to get things rolling, and I wasn't getting it done.
Yeah.
For the blessings of my company that I love so much, and for my own sanity, I
Yeah.
needed to fire myself. And I'm
Yeah.
interested, I know what I did. I'm interested in you. Did you fire yourself for your kids, for your company,
Oh.
or for you? Because you grew because of it. In my experience, I grew because of it. But why did you do it? And what would you share with
Yeah,
business
I
owners?
did. I took myself out of the business. I say I fired myself even though I was still owning the business. I fired
Yeah.
myself because mentally I started working on my business and I was traveling around the United States and Canada
Yeah.
coaching other family entertainment center owners and learning from them, but mainly taking all my corporate wisdom of supply like
Yeah.
systems and processes, and I was able to go do what I loved and didn't realize I loved it so much. And I let my team run my company like
Yeah.
a business should. Like a
Yeah.
business owner should not be making pizza. Like that's a $15 an hour job. That business owner should be at a high level leadership meeting in the
Yeah.
community in building an ecosystem outside their four walls of their brick and mortar. And I
You
chose to go
saw a
work.
path.
I saw a path and
Yeah,
I,
you
I
did. And
went
you
to
opened
work.
that door up. And I think
I
that's
did.
really important. I think business
I
owners
did.
don't realize they think they're the only ones that can do it. They
I
started
know.
it. It's their name over the door. They're the ones
Yeah.
that know how they know all the customers, they have relationships, and they think they're the
Yes.
only ones. And when we pull ourselves out of that spot, it's tough and it's vulnerable. And boy, do you give up everything you thought you are, right? Am I
Yeah.
speaking to somebody?
Yeah,
And
it's a
then you,
founder's syndrome. It truly is a
ah,
founder's syndrome. And I'll tell you why it's a
interesting.
founder syndrome. A founder is birthing a business with nothing. They have a vision and that's it. They are
Mm,
birthing a business and figuring it out. And
hmm.
when somebody buys a franchise or when somebody buys another business, there's already an infrastructure in place, right? It's almost like building a house. You're building it and buying a plot of land and watching this building be built. When you go buy a house or a used car, mainly a used house, it's already standing. You're getting what you get, right? And you may want
Hmm.
to add on an addition or whatever, but when you're birthing a business, a founder has less trust because they're holding on to their baby and they won't let it go as fast as somebody that owns a franchise or buying a business. And it's
Yeah.
a proven fact. And
That's a proven fact. I'm glad you shared that.
I was that person and I learned at 7 years into owning that business that I was my own bottleneck. I was holding my business back and I was not listening to my managers that I was doing all the wrong things. I was shooting shrapnel out of my mouth. I felt that I had to answer the phone at 11 o'clock at night. Stop that. Whoever's doing that, stop that. Nobody's expecting you to answer your phone at 11 o'clock at night to book a birthday party. Like if I could tell any founder, business owner, nobody is expecting you to answer your phone at 11 o'clock at night unless you're a plumber who is going to fix a leak in their
That's right.
house. Like
That's
there
right.
are occupations like doctors and plumbers and HVACs that, they thrive in that. I'm going to charge a lot of money because you just woke me up at 11 o'clock at night, right? But there are certain things that I've learned in all my journeys of being a business owner. And the one thing I have to say, if I could leave with anybody, is that you have got to trust your people. And it's better to have 80% done than not. And you're the one that's holding yourself, you're the one that's holding your whole business back. Your team, your business growing, you are the bottleneck. I promise you. And you don't even realize when you're getting to burnout stage because nobody's vulnerable enough to tell you that because you're so toxic when you're to that point.
Yeah.
And people need to be
Well, that's true.
self-aware. And my mission, Bryan, right now is to help walk alongside business owners and help them identify their own self-awareness, because they're the ones that are holding themselves back, especially those that have found a business. They don't know, they're really good at whatever that is. They don't have the systems in place. They don't have the infrastructure to grow. They don't know what scaling versus growing is. Like there are certain things I've learned in my corporate job and my birthing that business and now the business I have, that my mission today is to help business owners lead smarter and work less, period. That is all I care about doing.
Our egos get in the way as business owners.
Oh my God. Let me tell
That's the
you,
whole thing.
ego is, it's funny when I do a leadership conference, business owners blow up balloons and the ego is on it. And everybody has to pop a balloon.
You got to pop it.
And I'm
I
like,
love that.
you're going to pop your ego right now and
Yeah,
leave
pop
it at the door because you are no
Good luck.
different than anybody else.
Good luck. So let's talk about that, because I love the wisdom that you're sharing, and I know you've
Yeah.
gained this wisdom over time and over.
Yes. I worked in the trenches. Let me tell
you were there, and I love the word failure because that means you tried something and you've overcome.
Yeah.
You've overcome things that didn't work out, and so let's fast forward if it's okay.
Yes.
How did the Biz Hive come about? And tell me about the Biz Hive, and I want to talk about your book too.
Yeah.
Because I think we have a lot to learn from you, Janice. So tell me about kind of where things are now.
Yeah.
How
So
we got
let's fast
today.
track.
Looking at the typical salesperson, everything they do day in and day out, if we simplify all of that and really boil it down, they have two superpowers. First superpower that salespeople have is how they behave. Second superpower they have is what they say. As a seller, we only have two problems. We either said something or did something that we should not have said or done, or we didn't say something or do something that we should have said or done.
Tell me about kind of where things are now.
Yeah,
how we
so
got
let's fast
today.
track. Let's fast track. So Romp and Stomp closed, sold the assets, was in when I fired myself, went to work for a company, burnt out because traveling, and I opened my own Getting Gear Business Solutions. Getting Gear Business Solutions was, I was certified in DISC, and I did everything that I did at the company that I worked for, but I did it for other industries, not just family entertainment. And so the Getting Gear Business Solutions started as an EOS implementer, DISC, people part of implementing how to, grow businesses. And that business came, the Biz Hive morphed out of that, because what I found was my business owners during our L10s at the time were not getting their tasks done. And my personal assistant, Gabby Pagura, was my assistant. She worked at Romp and Stomp. She came to work for me in my launch of that business. And we just noticed over time that these people weren't getting their tasks done. And I'm like, we should be their assistant. We should be that. Let's test this out. So we did. She picked up more hours because I could only give her a certain amount of hours. And I said, let's try this out. Fast forward, moved into the location I'm in now, found an opportunity. The Biz Hive is a support service company. And oh, by the way, if you are in Medina, you can rent an office and get a mailbox, but we're really a support service business. And it was birthed out of my coaching business because my coaching clients were not getting their simple tasks done. And so now we can coach them and support them in multitude of fashions in whatever that looks like. But at the end of the day, we support business owners and help them get to the next levels of their business. And so the book is being birthed out of what I know a business owner needs, whether you're in Australia or wherever you're at. I want to be able to touch the business owners' lives that are in the trenches right now, that know how to do their thing. They just don't know that they need these systems in place these
Yeah.
6 components that are the hex system that will help them identify very simply the people part of your business of what is your purpose, what is your people, who are the people that are driving that, how are you measuring their success, and are you profitable? Because if you're not profitable, what are you? And you need
You're
to
not in
fix
business.
that, or you
Yep.
need to nix it, like, period. Like, there is no, well, I'm gonna, keep treading water and keep doing the same thing and thinking something's gonna happen differently. That's called insanity. And you need to quit the insanity, and you need to have somebody walk alongside of you by saying, you've tried everything. Have you pivoted this? And if that doesn't happen, I will help you navigate that necessary ending that has to happen and try something different.
Let me ask you this, because so we talked about the business owner and the ego. We don't always know the hole we're in. We don't always know that we're
Yeah.
digging it deeper. So
Yes.
what would a business owner need to know about his current situation if his ego's or her ego is
Yeah.
so strong that it won't let go? Why would I want to read your book? I'm already doing everything I can. I'm a smart business owner. I know
Yeah.
everything. It's I
Yeah.
don't know what I don't know. Why would I want to read your book? What am I going to learn, or what am I feeling now that's like, yeah, this book's for you, man?
Yeah, so it's really about building an ecosystem, right? So if we are building a business in a local community, we absolutely we should be building the community that then supports the business. And that's exactly what I did in my first business, Romp and Stomp.
Widen.
To this day, I walk in the grocery store and people think that business is still alive. That brand has outlasted my company. And I go back on all those fundamentals of what made that business so successful until I
Good.
lost my lease and didn't have it anymore. It really is all about what are you doing to build a business that's going to thrive? Because surviving is one thing. Thriving businesses build an ecosystem that is sustainable and a legacy building way beyond your idea or vision. It's how are you growing your business that is going to make an imprint, a legacy imprint in the community that you are in. And if you just care about fixing somebody's sink, well, you're fixing somebody's sink because of what is your purpose? Like,
Yeah,
your
it's
show
their
is
problem, not
your
yours. Yeah, yeah,
your show is called Purpose Under Pressure, but what is the real purpose of your business?
yeah.
Because that is why you exist, and that is why people want to work for you. You don't have a turnover problem, you have a you problem. You are the problem, and if you don't have a clear, you taught me this, Bryan. If you don't have a clear marketing message of why you exist, why is anybody going to want to buy from you? Why is
Yeah.
anybody want to do business with you? And most importantly, why is anybody going to want to work for you?
That's for sure too, because you're going to fall off mission real quick, and that mission
Right.
drift comes in, and people are like, "Wait a
Right.
minute, this isn't what I signed up
Yeah.
for." So, what's the
Yeah,
book
and
called?
this business in this book really is about the struggling and surviving business owner. It's not the ego-driven business owner. It's the person who is in the trenches
Yeah,
trying their best and they are struggling.
so they
And
know they've got a problem.
they
They
know they have a
can't see
problem
out
and
of the
they don't
hole.
know how
Yeah,
to fix
that's
it.
what I was looking for.
They have a people problem. They have a profit problem. They don't know that they have a purpose problem. They don't know that
Yeah,
they're burnt out. But when somebody is to the point of, I just want to give up, I don't want you to give up. You just don't know what you don't know. And be vulnerable enough to ask for help. Don't shut the doors.
Mm.
Hire somebody that can take and look it through a lens that you're not seeing something. You're
Yeah,
not doing something that's not allowing your business to move forward. And it may be you. And if you're coachable, and some business owners are, and some aren't. Like, I've fired more business coaching clients than I have kept, because if you're not willing to be vulnerable and understand that maybe we need to work on your leadership skills, because people aren't born leaders. They're not born salespeople. That is a skill acquired.
yes,
And
that's true.
you can own a business and never have led anybody before. And now you've got 10 employees
Yeah, what
and
do
you
you
know
think
how
you're
to do
doing?
your thing, but you don't know how to lead. And so
Yeah.
that is my ultimate goal, is to help business owners lead smarter and work less, because the more you work does not mean
Mm.
you're
That's for
working
sure.
smart, right? So
What's the book called, and how can people get it? When's it coming out?
Built to Thrive,
Okay.
and it is coming out in January
Okay.
27th. So
Congratulations, Janice.
um, you
Built to
can,
Thrive.
yes, you can follow me on LinkedIn. Built to Thrive is my newsletter that I share words of wisdom. And I will have a magazine called Thrive coming out in January. That's going to be our launch of our Thrive magazine. And so I will be sharing words of wisdom, and yeah, I'm very excited about our pivot. So
And folks, if you're listening now, you can hear it in Janice's voice. If you're watching, you can see it. Janice has an amazing presence about her, and
thanks.
if I didn't know the answer to this, but you ought to do keynote speaking because,
Well, I
because
am
you've got
getting
a
back on stage. I
yeah.
paused
Tell us
that.
about that. If
I
someone wanted to
paused
reach out to
that.
you, and if
Yes.
someone wanted to reach out to you a little bit and talk about how they could interact with you, and I think maybe learning from you,
Yeah.
sharing some of your wisdom with their staff, their employees, even on a smaller scale, whatever it might be, or on a stage with 3,500 seats in front of you, I think you can handle
That's
that,
what
and I
I
think you've
thrive.
done it before. Yeah. So how
Yeah.
do people reach out to you and learn from
Yeah.
you that
Thanks
way?
for asking, Bryan. You can call us at 844-999-HIVE, or you can reach out to me at Janice, Janice, at thebiz-hive.com. And you'll reach me personally or through LinkedIn. So either of those channels. And my phone is always open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, because boundaries
Yeah, 9
are,
to 5. Don't call Janice at 11 o'clock. She's not going to answer. I
and I'm not going to break
love
my
that.
boundaries of the evenings. I have worked those. I have been in those trenches, and my sacred boundaries are my family and my husband right now, because I didn't have that in my life. I put work above everything because I thought I had to build this business. And what I learned out of that is boundaries are required to have a successful marriage, to have a successful friendships, and to be a real authentic leader. So yes.
Folks, if you're looking for a real authentic leader, you have to look for someone who's been there, who's done that, who's
Yes.
been through the ropes. And I want you to know that I've known Janice for probably 6 years now, 5 or 6
Yeah.
years now. And I admire her tenacity and her persistence, and just the idea of, I don't care who or what or where or why, I am going to overcome this issue. That's the
Yes.
attitude that she has, and she's done it. And if you want to learn from someone, you need to learn from someone who's been through it.
Yeah.
And so I strongly encourage you to reach out and talk to Janice. I know she'll love to talk to you wherever it goes from there, but it'll be one
Yes.
of the best calls you make. And I know that by experience. So Janice Jokkel, thank you so much for
Thanks.
being our guest. I think you're what the show is all about. And I thank you for being on Purpose Under Pressure.
Thanks.
That's Janice Jokkel. She's our guest on Purpose Under Pressure, and brought to you by Sandler by the Ruby Group. Sellers are under pressure to perform. We've talked a lot about pressure today. Well, are you going to overcome it or not? Sandler will help you to succeed on purpose. You'll find all past episodes of Purpose Under Pressure at bryanmediastrategies.com/podcast and wherever you stream your favorite shows. We love doing it. We love doing it every week, and we will see you next time on Purpose.